I wonder if he's happy or he's pumped up on how the team is playing right now as he gets ready for conference play on Thursday. Should we ask him?
Absolutely.
Here's Coach Fisher here on the Corky's Hotline.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you, sir. How about yourself?
All good. Are you feeling good about the team getting ready to get ready for the Mountain West Conference tournament?
We're very excited about where we are, how we've been playing. Undisputed champs of the Mountain West Conference with a 3-game bulge over Fresno State, our closest competitor, and really 2 possessions away from being undefeated. We had the ball in both of our losses last possession with a chance to win the game. So we've had a really, really good, strong conference season. And we're playing our best basketball right now, and our hopes are to go to Vegas and grow it from where it is right now.
Coach, how big of a learning curve do you think that was, having gotten beaten by Boise State and the way the game ended, and then going on the road into one of the most hostile environments in college basketball and going into the pit like that and winning that basketball game as handily as you did? How big of a curve was that?
Dan, I'm not sure about a learning curve. We were devastated that we missed 7 straight free throws in the Boise State game and didn't find a way to win it. We could have, we should have, but we didn't. And that's reality. You'd like to say, hey, we should have made, but we didn't. The key thing our players were able to do was, and I use the phrase, forgive, but don't forget. Forgive yourself, but don't forget. And don't let Boise State beat you twice. There's such a small difference between being really ready to play and passionately ready to play. And we were good at being able to move forward into that next game at New Mexico, a very tough place to play, and put all our energy into that game. Now, how much each player, kind of banked and put a chip on their shoulder, all those kinds of things, what happened, I don't know. But the most important thing was, don't dwell on what happened. Look forward to what you're going to do.
Yeah, Coach, to me it looked like, and again, like you said, I mean, I hate to say, well, this game means more than that game, because as well as I do, game 1 means as much as the last game of a regular season. There's no doubt about that. I get that, but more of a sense of urgency, it seemed, against New Mexico, where, hey, we're not going to let one game beat us 3 times or once after a game like that. That's how I felt. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair, and that's how we played. When we shoot, when we make shots, we really look good because we guard almost all the time. When we shoot the ball the way we did at New Mexico, home against Vegas, everybody takes notice. I mean, we made 13 threes in our season finale against UNLV. You have to make shots. And we've been able to do that.
Coach, and that goes to this question here. I mean, 4th in the country defensively. I mean, you're holding these guys to 60 points a game, and, I mean, it's spectacular. First in the conference, obviously. But then you take a look over, and you're like 126 in offense. Finding offense is going to be key for this next stretch run here and taking home the tournament title, no?
No question. But, Dan, we're better offensively. I've been saying this for 6 weeks. Our thought process, our flow, our ability to get the kind of shot, when and where, and by whom we want the shot to be taken, it's been there. We just haven't made enough shots. And we've got the same shots again and again and again. And I believe strongly in the way you practice is the way you'll play. And we've been shooting the ball well in practice lately. And I think it's been a carryover. Confidence is paramount. And you look at our guys, that they believe that they're going to make shots. And that's so critical to being able to make them.
Coach Steve Fisher here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090, here on the Corky's Hotline. Coach, one thing Jimmy Johnson used to always tell us, and you just brought something up, practice championship tempo, whether it's getting water, going to the bathroom, whether it's going to class. He used to instill in us, practice like you're a champion. And I never knew what that meant, but I understood it as I removed myself from the game, was that everything we did, and you see it at different clubs and you see it at different places. They lollygag around a drill from drill. Man, we sprinted. There was always a sense of championship pace at everything we do. Is that what you're talking about too? On getting guys prepared and having them prepared to understand a championship team has to play like that?
Absolutely. We're all creatures of habits, and you build habits. You build habits every day, and how you do things. And we have what we call tempo and technique. And it's what you're talking about. When we're in tempo, it's game on. It's game mode. It's high energy. It's playing like you're playing for a national championship. If we're working on form and technique, now's the time where we slow down and we talk. And here's where you're supposed to be and why. And here's the angles and all of that stuff. But when we say, okay, this drill is tempo, then we don't talk. We compete and we play. And I know exactly where you're coming from with what you said Jimmy Johnson told you.
Coach, I want to get your thoughts on one and done. Are you a fan of it?
I think we've talked a little bit on this before. I would be in favor of going back to where we were 10, 15 years ago, whenever it was. If you come out of high school and you're good enough and somebody is willing to draft you in the NBA and pay you an excessive amount of money, you should be allowed to go. That's my feeling on it. And we have now 1 year, you have to stay 1 year after high school. And some kids have opted, a handful have opted to go to China, Europe, and play. Most players come and play a year in college. And then if they're good enough, everybody thinks they're good enough. If then they become good enough to where the NBA people say they're good enough, then they put their name in. Duke had 3 players, Dan, drafted in the first round last year who were all freshmen. And years ago, people say, well, why don't you do it like Duke? They never have anybody leaves early. It's the way of the world now. If you had a son who could command millions of dollars coming out of high school like LeBron James did when he came out of high school, why are we saying you can't go? When, again, I use the analogy of 15-year-old tennis prodigy or golf star, they can go and nobody bats an eyeball.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, I left early, too. I left as a junior. I mean, there was $600,000 out there for me, and my family had never seen anything like that before. My friend got injured right next to me in a football game, and I went like this. I have a chance. I was the 57th player taken, and I said, I'm going. I'm going to take the money. I'd done everything I thought I could do in college. Should I have stayed? Probably. I wasn't mentally prepared, and I think that's the thing that it concerns me a little bit because, again, when you're at that level, paying bills, Coach, and, not having your time monitored like you are in college, it's a whole different world. But it leads me to this question because of Ben Simmons. I mean, Ben Simmons does not qualify for the Wooden Award because of his grade point average. I think it's ludicrous to say that. He's a one-and-done kid. The kid's going to go in there. The rule is set up, but not to be up for an award because his grade point average. Everybody knows why he went to LSU. He didn't go to LSU to get a degree. He went to LSU to get a degree in basketball.
Dan, it's always easy for someone else to say, "Oh, they shouldn't be able to do it." But when it's you, it's a whole different ball game. And I will tell you this: way back, and I know you know sports, and I know you remember the name Felipe Lopez.
Absolutely.
Way back when Felipe Lopez was in high school, they were saying, "Who's the best? Who's the number one high school player in the country? Felipe Lopez or Gerard Ward?" And Gerard Ward from Clinton, Mississippi, signed with us at Michigan. And had he had the wherewithal, he would have gone pro out of high school. If it had been in that era, he had 2 major ACL injuries before his sophomore year. Nobody came knocking after the injuries. And I think you factor in so many different things, and it's a family dynamics. And obviously, when you grow and, college is a place where you can grow and mature and gain so many things on and off the floor. However, you sometimes have to make decisions, and then you have to make your decisions work for you. We could cite example after example of guys that left early and were duds. They washed out. But you can cite a like number of those that came out early and prospered and had brilliant careers. And so I think each situation is independent, and maturity is, something. Sometimes a 17-year-old has it a whole lot better than a 37-year-old too.
Absolutely. And Lopez, again, if I'm not mistaken, Coach, I think he went to St. John's, but Tark thought that guy was like, the best player in the country. But then again, too, everybody thought Sebastian Telfair was going to be another one of those guys,
Right.
It's just like you said, Coach, each individual has his own story. Hey, Coach, go get him Thursday. Great finish to the season. 23-8, 16-2 Mountain West. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you having me on. You take care of yourself and follow the Aztecs. Let's be playing on Saturday for a championship.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach.
You bet. Thank you.